dope sneaks on.
I had to, man.
Right?
Dude, I haven't bought sneakers such a long time, too. I just been on Vans, just, trying
I'll have to
focus
get you
on
some
this.
Geigers. Get Taylor your size.
Yeah?
John Geiger's a dear friend. I would be the worst dressed human being in the world if it wasn't for my friends like trying to keep my marriage together and sending me free clothes. I'm like, I think I still have a pair of sweatpants that are from high school. With like the holes in them that are like don't fit no more. They've been washed like 4 million times.
Yeah.
And I swear every time I wear them, my wife loves me just a little bit.
Dude,
less.
you always had, like, every time I've seen you, you've always had, like, the dopest sneakers. I'm like, man. And he just be like, man, see, I could be a successful entrepreneur and, be a good family man, but still have, like, some dope sneakers and just be myself. You know what I'm saying?
Well, the world's changing. It allows us to be a little bit more... I think we're rewarding personal character traits. Like when you're unique, it's being rewarded. Like look at Billie Eilish. Isn't that her name, Billie Eilish?
Yeah. Oh, man.
That's like the most, you watch her transformation over 3 years, it's fucking mind-blowing.
Yeah.
But she's her own person and her fan base. When she was like, I don't want to say like a mold of normal chicks, kind of, kind of the same cookie cutter girl, right?
Yeah.
Don't kill me, ladies. She had a following, but when she kind of like morphed into this like misfit, like we kind of all are, and like wore that crown, it was crazy because it's like I think people want to be themselves. They're just kind of like living in social standards.
Yeah.
They want to be themselves, just not in public.
She broke the barrier for sure, man. Even like when I think it was the Grammys.
Yep.
She had her award, and I think everyone's just like, wow. Like,
She won like all of them.
Yeah.
She had like so many in there. But again, I think it's proof more of that the misfits need a voice. And when they have one, they resonate. Because I think we're more, with all due respect, we're more fucked up than ever.
Absolutely.
Right?
Yeah,
and so we're looking to try to find some sort of normality in our absolute chaos. Right?
Yeah. I think we're all misfits in our own way, right?
If you're not, please get away from me because you're probably skinning cats in the basement or something, right? It's like you have a serious character flaw that we are not seeing.
Yeah.
I like to see people's character flaws like in person, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like me, I feel like I'm really polarizing. You either love or hate me right off the jump. I'm cool with that, right?
Yeah.
It's the people you just don't know about that scare me. I'm like, what are you hiding? Because I see no flaws right now. It must be massive in behind closed doors, right?
Yeah. So if someone's really quiet,
are
you like?
I'm
what's
terrified of them. I'm just kidding, guys. Don't be too quiet. Yes, no, it is because all the things that we are taught along our lifetime to like gauge human interactions in these experiences are like put in question when you have this wall personality that you have no idea what's going on. So it starts kind of letting the mind wander, like, what's going on with this person? I can't figure you the fuck out.
Yeah.
I can't tell if you're my people or not. And we're just trying to have these these connections. We bounce off each other to see if it sticks.
Yeah.
So if we can't like feel you out, it's actually what builds massively long-term relationships because a lot of people attract to that.
Mm-hmm.
They're like, I can't figure you out. I need to be around you more. This mysterious. And really, it's normally people that are in a really tough spot or they're really broken inside or, there is some skinning cats in basements going on.
What's funny is because, I think a lot of books I've been reading and I know a lot of the entrepreneurs have been on here, they preach so much on like, hey, dude, like active listening, or like silence generosity, practice it. And usually the most quiet person is the most dangerous person in the room. But
fuck that. I think I'm proof of that. I'm loud as shit. Well, the idea here is, sound builds vibration. Vibration is kind of like this energy, right? So if I'm starting this energy that's constantly fluid, the room isn't stagnant. So I can get people to go out of their comfort zone by having a simple conversation. And now you're telling me things you probably won't want to talk about normally just to keep a conversation from feeling bland.
Yeah.
Like if I really want intel from someone and they're not willing to give it, I'm giving away my secrets. But this is what I do. I'll have like a conversation where you can tell they're engaged and then I'll pause.
Mm-hmm.
And make it awkward just like that.
Yeah.
And just stare at them. Mm-hmm. And now you'll get a response and all of a sudden I broke that wall down and now they're just trying to make the situation not uncomfortable. They're not thinking logically about the things that they're divulging to me. Mm-hmm. And it allows me to understand the environment of which I want to be into.
Mm-hmm. Well, what's interesting is, so I don't know if you remember, me and you, I had the privilege of sharing the stage with you at a progression conference. We're on a group panel. And I know these guys were there. And I got to say, man, there's just something about you, the way you talk. you have this energy about you. Even when we got off stage and we were chatting on the side, we were having this discussion, and all of a sudden I remember I was chatting with you one-on-one, and I look around, I was like, what the hell is this crowd around me? And then like, you just have this, the way what you talk about, and this energy that gravitate towards you. Have you always been like that? Because you're talking a lot about vibrations and energy and things like that.
Yeah. Yeah. I think I was like the class clown, always talking. I love and hate people simultaneously. My hateful of people is that they most live their lives not knowing really what they're capable of.
Yeah.
But my love of people is like watching the interactions, how we're all so fucking similar. It's crazy. So for me, I've always been like poking at people to get them to open up to me, to feel that, because it proves to me, in sales, that the rhetoric is true. We're all very similar in our basic core functions. You know what I'm saying? And the more you learn that as a human being, and the more it allows me to build the right bricks for the road I want to ride, right? You know, so it allows me to kind of circumnavigate the world in a fashion that gives me results. Versus like, people say, the real killers are silent in the dark. I still work. It's not like everything that I'm doing, but if you're not out there, especially this day and age, you're just not utilizing this new frontier of attention. And that's
no question.
It's like people, and that's, like, believe it or not, just like stuff like this, I get asked to do a lot of things that I normally wouldn't get to do because I am vocal, because I do go out and do these things. If I was just sitting in the dark, you fucking wouldn't know about me. I'd be just some dirtbag running ads online like I always used to be, right?
Yeah.
So it allows me to broaden my verticals of life, not only vertically but horizontally. And I got kids, a son on the way, 3 daughters. I gotta go fucking horizontal as shit. I was, not to go too far off, but I was making a joke with my wife the other night. Like 12 years ago, I lived in this place in Carlsbad. Nice house, in all relative world, nice house, $3,500 a month, nice house. Except I was dead fucking broke. Like, I was not answering doors for collection agencies. I was like getting my cars repoed if I opened the garage. And I remember like crying at night, being like, if I could just make 10 G's a month, just 10 G's a month, all my fucking worries would be gone. So like a week ago, I'm doing the tuition, for my 2 daughters, soon to be 3rd daughter in school, and then to pre-qualify my son that's not even fucking born yet, right? $11,000 a month.
Wow.
And it really put in perspective, right, about like our purpose and what we think we want in life to pair what we need, and just kind of going out there and building these little reactions with people, and eventually you think you're going here and that's all you need, and you're way over there, not even understanding a world that you could have lived in that would have been that. It's all by going out and chatting with people, picking at them, seeing they're all about.
I remember I know you're so huge on networking, connecting with people, just like you talked about, and also introductions. How does that play out for you? Because if there's anything that people know me about, it's really about networking and adding value to people. And I know you're so huge on introductions. I mean, I've come to a place now where I fully understand who I am, and it's come to the point where people naturally introduce me to other people just because of what I represent and the type of person I am. How have you been able to establish yourself like that, becoming that guy as you throughout your career and going through all the hardships and all that stuff?
Honestly, I think being real, being authentic, being polarizing, like hyper polarizing, because the thing is like when someone introduced you to someone and they put their name on the line for you, all they really want to know, they don't even think about, are they going to do a good job? They're like, are they going to fuck my name over, right? So I think that people do that because they know right away how I am and how I act. So there's no like skeletons in the closet or some things that might pop up and scare the end person. It's just, this is what you're getting. So it allows people to, because people want to be that of helping. Like if I introduce you to someone and you help them out, I get a win from that, right? That looks back good on me.
Absolutely.
So when people know that I can facilitate a win because my reputation, I live very transparent through it, people know they're teeing up the best chance to build a good connection and get the reciprocity back, if that makes sense. So, and I think that's been, my, connections with people and the ability to make these networks is I'm just really wildly polarizing. And the truth is people say this all the time, but I really just don't give a shit. Like, I get so much love from the people that love me. Like I could get hate from every other person on the planet and it would still not ever outweigh the love I get, right?
No, absolutely.
So it's easy for me to kind of just glide through it and enjoy it, and and get to meet all these awesome people like yourself.
No, I appreciate that. Chase, I just found out that so if I got this correctly, and please just interrupt me if I got it wrong. You came from a small town in Wisconsin. You moved to Temecula.
Yep.
Right?
Yep.
And I didn't realize you grew up in Riverside. I grew up in Riverside, Corona. That's where I grew up, went to high school and everything.
I actually went to that jail.
Oh, okay.
Oh, hell yeah. That's a no fucking joke. Riverside jail, they don't kid.
Yeah, yeah. Let's talk about, we went a little ahead.
Yep.
Because, dude, just chatting with you is always, we could just go off topic. But let's just real quick on your story, obviously. So Chase Hero, killing it in e-com. He has a group with the Watchers group, and we're going to talk about that shortly. But just talk about a little bit through, your beginning stages and the struggles that you went through. Because I got to tell you, when I think the word or the statement rags to riches is so overused, but I feel like yours is like beyond extraordinary what you've been able to overcome.
Yeah, it's been wild, and I still deal with it every day. So yeah, born in a small town, lived in the Midwest for a long period of my life, a city called Sun Prairie, got in a lot of trouble, almost expelled from school, sold a lot of drugs, got incarcerated. That was tough. It really showed me I was a piece of shit. Not that I could make that call, that the world had made that call for me. When I got out, I came to California. In fact, I actually ran to California. I was on what are called PO holds, which is like when you get out, and I was smoking weed. I mean, I was a fucking college kid, depressed as shit. I was locked up. All my friends were having fun. And so they would put me back in for 90 days, like 90 days. And the third time I was just over it, cut my bracelet off. Mm-hmm. Parole officer calls. She's like, "We're coming." I'm like, "You better come quick. I'm gone." And I ran wow. to. I went to in the woods of the northern forest to a friend of mine's cabin. Stayed there for a month. Bounced around friends, and the cops started looking. They were like actually looking for me. Like, oh my god, this is crazy. I was like a Crime Stoppers, all this fucking.
So you were like a wanted man.
Straight up. And for like 1 second, it felt cool, and then it felt real. Then I was like, that is not cool. So. Yeah. I went to my mom and I was like, "Mom, I fucked up in life. I don't, I need to go. I need to like have a new start."
What was the reason for running though? Just to get a new start, like this?
Yeah, the parole agent that I had was a lady whose daughter went to my high school. Yeah. She's still there to this day. Fucking hates me for no apparent reason other than just fucking hates me, right? So I just was over being like this piece of shit cog in the wheel to the system. Like now, if I was dealing with it now, it would take me a check in 2 minutes and it'd be over with, right? But then it was just like, it was horrendous. I was just over. It was to the point where I was like, I was going to like clunk, take my own life or start a new one. So I go to California with like, $2,000 I had from roofing, and I stay with my buddy at a hostel. It was like $12 a day. And then he was nice enough to let me stay at his aunt's house. We had worked at a gas station. And these construction guys kept coming in all the time working, and they'd always notice me. And one day he offered me a job, and I was like, "Yeah, I'll take this job because it's going to pay me 3 times the money." Right? I was like, "Fuck yeah." I'm like, "But I got to give these people 2 weeks notice. That's fucked up for me just to jump over the counter like you want me to and leave this place empty." Yeah. So it seems like it's going to be all good. So I'm like up in my house. I like this blunt up. I'm so happy. I was a bong actually. I'm like being a kid, and I get this knock at the door, and my roommate opens it, and it's 2 SWIFT officers. They pull their badges out, thunk, right on the chest. I'm staring at them. I'm like, fuck. It's not at that moment I realize like you're not for anyone else in this place but me. And they're like, Chase. I'm like, yeah. They're like, we're here to extradite you back to the state of Wisconsin. I'm like, fuck, right? So they were cool. They let me call my mom. They handcuffed me, but like let me put my sweatshirt over my hands and like walk out without like. I don't want to embarrass my roommates and my name to like.
Yeah.
And so they take me to the Riverside jail, right? I have hyperlipidemia. It's a heart condition. So I take this medicine. And I go to see the house doctor, and they're like, they couldn't give it to me. They're like, you need to wait 30 days to get back to Wisconsin. We'll get it. Because I have to go back 30 days, stop at 30 jails along the way on my extradition path back to the state of Wisconsin. Damn, yeah. So basically hell with a capital H, right?
You weren't VIP yet to fly you out, right?
Nope. I was like, you're going to really enjoy this shit. So I'm walking back, and Riverside's got these pods, and everybody's all big and tough. I have like the body of a 12-year-old dainty girl, right? I'm not built for fucking jail. And so I'm like trying to be tough, you know, like maybe one click of the ear seemed like I'm psycho. And the sheriff in the pod goes, "Hero, roll up your sleeves or you're going to holding," because I have like the orange jump with my white shirt that's like down to my wrist, because I'm like, bitch, this shirt don't fit me. I need the women's attire, right?
Yeah.
So I look up, I'm like, what? He's like, roll up your sheets, you're going home. I'm like, all right, the bus is here, right? Mm-hmm. So they give me all my shit in a Ziploc bag, a freezer one at that. You know, they make you feel real on top of your game. They're like, here's all your worldly possessions in a Ziploc bag, bitch. Now get the fuck over there.
Yeah.
And he gives it to me, and he points me down a hallway, and he's like, go. I go down this hallway. It's outside. In my head, for the one brief second, I'm like, oh shit, they just execute people in California. They don't even play. There's too many people here.
Yeah. Like with the fences, with like the metal fences type of thing?
So it was, imagine like a long brick indoor hallway with like a metal door, and you open it, and it is literally the side of the jail, but like a sidewalk outside, like a road, cars driving on the other side of the road, houses, like no fence blocking, nothing. Like that door is the divider of freedom.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. And I look back at this guard like, what the fuck?
Yeah, what just happened?
And he's like, Wisconsin's not paying to extradite. You're a free man. I'm like,
oh, shit.
Bro, it's crazy.
How'd you feel, man?
I felt, it was surreal, because you know, I'm young and dumb, and I'm not, I don't fucking know what's going on. So I don't know how to process any of this shit. I don't have the mental capabilities to process any of this. I'm still like, huh? All my head is like, I'm stressed. I need to smoke some weed. That was like my answer to
You're
everything.
like, where are all the cameras at?
Yes.
Where's Ashton Kutcher?
Right? Exactly. So, you know, phone's dead. Or no phone. That's right. All I brought was my driver's license and a prepaid phone card to use along the way, because I knew I was going through all this shit. Problem was, now I'm 13 miles from my house, and I have no phone, no money, no nothing, right? Mm-hmm. Prepaid phone card. So I walk home. In fact, the last mile I run so I could fuck with my roommates. Because after you walk 12 miles through Riverside heat, and like I'm walking through some rough shit, you find a little bit of clarity in life, right? And by the time I got to it, I thought it'd be pretty funny to make my roommates think that I broke out of jail. And I was on the run. I was going to test their friendship.
Probably make the best out of your release, right?
Oh, yeah. And I found out none of them motherfuckers were my true friends, because I played a joke on them. And what did they do? They called the fucking cops.
Oh, my God.
Like, I really ran. I'm like, you are a bunch of bitches, right? And I'm like, and like, so it was a whole ordeal. But long story short, I am now a free man, right?
Yeah.
Working at a construction company. I met this guy who went through just so much shit in life, but he was very wealthy. And I was like, how the fuck did you get away with all of that? Mm-hmm. And he goes, and he literally like grabbed me like my grandfather would grab me. And he's like, he said this statement, and it was like, I'm a billionaire. I can get away with anything. Yeah. And it sounded so cliche and so like whatever, but like it hit me. Mm-hmm. Like, holy fuck. And it made me realize that the problems I was dealing with is because I grew up in poverty. Mm-hmm. And I fucked up, but I did the time for my fuck ups, right? They were just trying to berate me around. But I realized with influence and power and money, I could actually be treated like a human being and not a piece of shit. So fast forward to today, I just got my passport at the age of 34.
Dang.
Right? Like at 34, I am now able to like bounce around this country. And it's been tough. You know, I couldn't vote. You know, no one would, you know, like when I bought my house, I had to pay cash.
Yeah.
Like not cash in a duffel bag like some cool, awesome dude, but like a wire, because no one would give me the time of the day. It's like ex-con, all these fucking things. They're like, no, get the hell out of here.
No one would approve you for a shit. Yeah.
And it actually, you know, built me to the person I am. I realized that like real talk, we say we don't need other people, but we do. Mm-hmm. But a lot of times you think you need them to provide for you in like a holding manner, but people provide us the most powerful shit in the world when we're least expecting, and in the capacity that it seems not like they're helping us. Yeah. Meaning like those people are who pushed me to this person I am today. Without them, I would be smoking weed, fucking around as a stoner, you know, like you wouldn't look at me and weed would be okay because it's me, right? Because I'm productive and I built this company. So now weed's okay, which that's a whole conversation I can have. I truly don't believe that's the case, but that's a whole other conversation. But yeah, I mean, just went through a lot, got into construction, then got into the internet by default. That's another crazy fucking story we can talk about. Like how I got into the internet space is just wild, you know?
Yeah. Was that when he told you that? When he said, like, I'm a billionaire and I could do whatever I want?
Like, just like your grandfather, like this.
It's like, come here, son.
Looking over at me and he's like, and I think his exact words were like, I'm a billionaire. We don't go to jail. Right. And I was like, in my head, like, there was no Bernie Madoffs, none of that shit. Right. None of that. And I was like, damn, this dude's powerful as shit. And believe it or not, what I learned about Bernie Madoff and all these big guys is billionaires get away with everything until you fuck the masses over and then they come crawling because, like, too many people cause too much commotion. They got to make a point of you. But if you think Bernie Madoff's a bad guy, you really don't know what's going on in the world because there are a whole bunch more terrible people who are free right now just destroying the world.
Absolutely. Do you think when he, you know, he told you that, do you think that's when that victim mentality mindset came into play where you knew it was like, you know what, I got to stop letting my background control me and I need to take control of my life?
Oh, yeah. Well, you know, I think everybody's trying to find that purpose for the I control my life, but life's comfortable. You know what I'm saying? Like you have to throw yourself into disarray. That's why I love people starting their own businesses. I want them to fail. I want them to fail miserably in the beginning and feel how fucking chaotic the bottom feels, but also realize it ain't made of quicksand. It's made of a trampoline. Mm-hmm. And if you just have good form, you bounce back farther and faster than ever before. Yeah. Like you need that because that's how you grow. It's like, people don't make changes in their relationships about like shit about themselves until like the love of their life leaves them. Yeah. Right? Yeah. No, it has to be we're such pig-headed motherfuckers that it has to be something drastic for us to do shit. Like every person you love can tell you what you're supposed to do. They're like, don't stand out in the freeway. Don't stand out in the freeway. Then one day you stand out in the freeway, get hit by a car. You're now telling the whole world, don't stand out in the freeway, yo. That shit'll get you hit. Like no shit. We just don't listen because no matter how much you love people, no matter how good you are, our egos run every decision we make as human beings. Yeah. Every decision. And when you're telling someone to change, you're basically saying that person's broken and that everything defined them up to that moment has been worth shit. Yeah. Hard thing to do.
I think I think you could agree with this, right? With your, you know, where you came from, you almost had like this relentless drive, right? Because I mean, you came from bad beginnings, you know, you're convict, all that stuff. And you basically had this sense of urgency, and basically your drive is unmatched at that point. Yep. And then there's people like, I'll admit, like myself, I don't feel like I had like the worst upbringing, but I'm so in tune with who I am that I harness different motivating factors and drive. You know, and I know people who reverse engineer that thought process, like, okay, they purposely put themselves in uncomfortable situations, urgent situations, so they could have that drive. Yep. What about the people that you think like who don't have that drive? How can they kind of harness that same relentlessness that you've been able to
leave the small town they're in?
Gotcha.
That's like the number one disease of America. Mm-hmm. Small townyism.
Almost like starting all over.
Yeah. Well, it makes. Listen. People think because you're born somewhere, that's where you're supposed to be. Those are your people. Yeah. No, it's fucking not. That's the world told you that's where you're supposed to be. You can't truly understand how big, how powerful, what you can achieve in the world until you go out, put yourself in uncomfortable situations, just like when your guys' big ass muscles grow in the gym. Is it comfortable or is that uncomfortable as shit, right? Yeah. That's when we grow. But you put yourself out in those situations and you find out who you're supposed to be with. Mm-hmm. But the reason a lot of people don't have drive, and I would have been victim of it too, is because a lot of people don't know what you're capable of. When I was young, I thought success was 150 G's a year, a fucking 1,500 Silverado, and a pretty decently hot wife, and I owned a construction company. To my town, and when I grew up and everybody I knew, that was success. Or you had an S10 and you're a drug dealer, right? That was the other thing of success. But that was it. You couldn't look past. Like someone told me you could make 10 million a year. I'd be like, I don't even understand what that means, right? Yeah. It's like that's not in America, right? That's like a different world. Yeah, yeah. Because that's how the people who control the world need it to be, right? Like we complain about education systems as flawed, but like, no, they're not. They're just corrupt, right? Yeah. Like they're not flawed at all. This is all purposeful. There's no metric. There's no financial instrument in this world that could take every single person investing into it. Yeah. It's impossible. Like we talk about that it's unfair. Well, yeah, it's that way because it would all come crashing down.
Absolutely.
Right? It'd be all over. Like you could make it illegal to have children without putting $500 in a Vanguard account. You'd literally stop. It would stop generational poverty in its tracks.
Yeah.
But we couldn't do it.
Yeah.
Because what metric would hold it? I think they just said recently that all of the resources in the world, it would give every person on the planet $100,000 for life.
Yeah. But what would life look like?
Terrible. Well, what would happen? We'd go right back to living off the land. And what has that told us? Well, that infrastructure wasn't sustainable for us to do that. We overpopulated this fucking globe, right? That's why you're watching viruses leak out and all of this population control. What I think is happening is because we're realizing we have a serious fucking problem on our hands. Yeah. And that's social, economic. None of our infrastructures are built for any what's about to take place. You know, it's crazy.
It's kind of like you used to watch Dave Chappelle's show.
I have, yes.
Yeah, when he was talking about when blacks, because of slavery back then, they started to receive their compensation, and then all of a sudden, like everyone went out there and it was like chaotic. There was like all these joint endorsements and all these joint businesses going on. It's just like it was like chaotic. It almost sounds like that.
Yep, it is. It's organized chaos. It's really wise man once told me that reality is just everybody hallucinating the same image.
So true, man.
And I think that we have one like guy behind the curtain, like Wizard of Oz type shit. And really, it's a conglomerate of people. Mm-hmm. And they are so good at getting people to do exactly what they want. I mean, we social experiment on people every single day. And
absolutely.
People do it. And they're like, let's stand a broom up. Wow, we got everybody to agree to that. Now, people don't understand, like, all these things put together, they have literally socially reverse engineered how people move about their day. That information is so powerful. It can soon dictate how we live. Yeah. Period. End dot period.
Yeah, no question. Speaking of metrics and success, obviously throughout the changes in your life as you progressed and, gone through adversity, how has that changed your metrics towards success, and what does success look like to you now?
Well, success in the beginning I thought was Lamborghinis and millions, right?
Yeah.
And partly maybe it still is. Success to me now is being who I want to be and everybody's okay with it. That's like if I was homeless, would you listen to anything I had to say, even if I was saying the same shit I'm saying right now?
More than likely
not.
Right? Just to be honest, yeah.
So what I love and what I think true success is people listen to my words now. Like they hear me out, and because I've made a few bucks and I've done business well. But like I think that people need to decide what they want for themselves. Yeah. And for me, I thought that was ultimate freedom. I can literally I go to weddings with drawstring pants on and people invite me back, right? Dan Fleischman, my dearest friends, I love him to death. I swear so much on stage and things like this, and you guys keep inviting me back, right? Like everybody just keeps inviting. You guys are fucking crazy. But the thing is because whatever about my success has broken a mold to allow someone to just listen for a second. And I think that that's a really big thing in this world. It really is, because real talk, yes, I have nice cars and nice homes, but they don't hold the same water they once did. And it's slightly depressing, I'm not going to lie. It affected me for a while. Because just like as a kid, you don't want to believe everybody's right and that they're telling you the truth. You want to believe you're different. Somehow it's going to be different for you. And excuse me, a nice car, it's like, I'll tell everybody they should have a nice car. Absolutely. But not because it makes you cool, because I deal with less problems in it. And life's about stressors. And it's like having a flat tire, have your car break. These things suck, right?
And the car gets outdated eventually.
Correct. And it's like for me, my car is an expression of my personality for that day. It's the only guilty pleasure that I absolutely get to have. And for some reason, society has put it on some pedestal like it's awesome. Like if it was collecting Barbies and that was my shit, people wouldn't see it the same way. Because it's stuff. In this society, we all measure each other on material items. I don't give a fuck how in touch with yourself you are. It's just how we are, because subconsciously we're measuring these interactions, and we just use the measurements we know, right? It's not like you can't just change society overnight. So success is doing shit like this, being able to do this, being able to have guys break into my fucking house and rob me, right? and being able to buy a brand new home without even batting a fucking eye if my first home sold, right? Freedom of actual, when the shit hits the fan, that it didn't hit the fan, right? Yeah. I think people forget about that. I think the best resource for money is like when the inevitable oh fuck moment happens, and now it has a lowercase f instead of a capital one. And you can ride right through it, and you're like, oh dang, that was awesome.
Yeah.
If you understand money, it's probably one of the most beautiful tools in the world, because most people have such an emotional attachment to it.
Yeah. People don't use it as a tool or understand it as a tool, which is the problem.
Well, and they weren't taught. Like, I mean, the thing is here's what's fucked up. If your parents spend money frivolously, or if when you're a kid, you heard your parents bitching about money and all of these things, you subconsciously are that way. We can't teach financial literacy into someone who's broken. It's really fucking hard. And it starts off with parents not having kids when they're all fucking broken, because that's what it builds. It builds this, you give someone 10 G's, what's the first, like I ask this question to everybody, I should ask them to all of you, but if I give you $100,000 right now, what are you really going to do? And everybody's like, oh, I'm going to invest it. No, I can look at your bank account statements and prove that not to be the truth in most cases, right? They'll justify, oh, I'll just spend 10% of it, right? I'll just spend a little bit on me because I earned that, right? Whatever the justification is.
Yeah.
It's always little doses, but it's frequent little doses is what makes people broke, right?
Yeah.
You're like, I'm just going to spend 10 grand. I'm going to get me a new house. It's gonna be okay.
Impulsive buy.
Yep.
Basically,
and then all of a sudden you got 90. And then 2 months later, you're like, well, I need a couch for this new house. Well, it's only 10% of that 90, right? So now it's at 81,000, right? Yeah. And you keep justifying these small little fucking unfeelable hits until it's all fucking gone. Mm-hmm. You got taxes to pay on it and you're just screwed. And people don't notice that. When reality, making money and becoming wealthy is disgustingly easy when you stop being emotional about everything.
Yeah. Like, only magnifies who you are too as a person.
Yep.
Also, right?
I always say, if someone calls me a sociopath, I kind of like look over, I'm like, thanks, I think, like, because I'm like, basically you're saying like, I have no feelings around any other thing except for like kind of like my flow, right? Put it this way, if you're going to invest money into like a day trader or an investor, I want them to be a sociopath. I want them to not give a fuck about me, my money, nothing. Why would I want? That emotional connection now would change how they do their day.
Yeah.
But people want some lovey-dovey holding relationship. And I'm like, well, the second they care about your money, they're not doing the same shit. It's why I take no investments from anybody else. People offer me, like, let me invest with you. I'm like, I would be different. I would never be able to take your money and not feel okay with it, treating it like it was mine.
Yeah.
Because if I lose my money, I smoke a joint and fucking think about it. Like, well, you fucked up. If I lose your money, I'm like, damn, I got to give him more. I lost twice. I got to pay that money back twice now. So it's an interesting dichotomy.
You got into, before online and the internet, you got into crypto a little bit, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
So was in the internet with crypto. Crypto was
okay. That was the foundation, and then it got into online sales.
Now we're doing like more sales, like B2B educational type stuff, but always have been in the e-commerce arena. Always have learned online sales in 2011. Really quick story. Was in the adult world, not acting, but running the ads. You like how I did the shoulders?
Hey, the casting couch right here.
Yeah, exactly. But running the ads. I started in that because I met a dude. He showed me the space. Long story short, had a huge falling out. Got into the internet from Ted Danik to run paid media. It was November 12th, 2011. November 11th, 2012. And I met him. He showed me how to run a France diet offer. I knocked my girl up, told her she had to have an abortion. She left me. I had $2,000 to my name. I was like a walking pile of shit all over again. I met him. He's like, put up this France diet, right? I'm like, all right. He's like, don't fuck this up. I'm like, all right. Why do you keep saying that? Like he said like 50 times. I'm like, why do you keep saying it? I get it. 12:01 in the morning, start the ad. Don't fall asleep, Chase. I've got it. Well, 12:01 comes, I start the ad. Guess what step 2 I did? Fell asleep, right?
Oh, shit.
Exactly, they said not to. Woke up in tears, like literally tears pouring down my face. Realized at that moment, I literally am a walking piece of shit. Don't deserve the air that I'm breathing.
Yeah.
Call him up. I'm like, bro, we got to look into these stats. I fucked up. I fell asleep. He logs in, $0 made, $1,200 spent. I'm an ex-con. Parents have no money. I have no future. I have no idea what I'm going to do. My only thing I had was my chick. She's gone. I thought I was like doubling. They told me like this was my future. I was going to kill this, right? And I just spent $1,200 of $2,000 that I had.
Yeah.
And I had nothing to show for it. So I hung the phone up. I couldn't take it. He called me like 50 times throughout the day. And he finally got me to answer at like 4 p.m. And he's like, dude, stop. I'm like, what? And I'm like, I need the day. I'm like crying to the point where like, you don't even want to look at someone crying because it like hurts you because they're like so hysterical.
They're so miserable.
You're just like, oh my God, I'm going to cry now. And he's like, dude, look at the fucking stats. The pixel wasn't firing. Logged in, it done like 3 G's on 1,200 spend. Turned the ads back on, spent 2K, did like 4 G's, right? Fast forward to January 1st through 14th of that following year. So like, a month and a half later, I did $1 million net in those 14 days. And I've been doing the exact same thing ever since. I buy a copious amount of ads on Facebook, normally in the e-commerce arena, normally emotional-based products versus search. And I'll give you kind of a little brief rundown of what I mean is, I want products that are bought in a state of emotional up or down, right? Either one, but an emotional. So not where you're going in there searching with all the buying metrics that you have been trained. Like if you want a new ping pong or like you want to get a new camera for this podcast, right?
Yeah.
You're going to like go look at reviews, you're going to look at prices, you're going to look at trusted verified sources, you're going to look all the things you've been taught as a consumer, especially an online consumer, right?
Yeah.
If I catch someone in an emotional shit in between like a news feed where they're looking at grandpa's auto mechanic videos and their Aunt June's casserole and their cousin graduated, and I catch their attention there and I make an emotional interaction with them, 2 things have happened, right? I get to sell to them when I want to sell, not when they're looking, right? And I've completed most of the transaction when they check out. It buys me more time with shipping. It buys me more time with issues and complaints. It buys me more time with everything in life.
It's like you've taken control, basically.
Correct. Because what is someone who is in a constant state of emotion, not thinking logically?
Yeah.
Right? And as when you're in sales, that's the number one thing. Imagine if Nike could everybody not to think logically. I mean, because consumerism is exactly that. Most people who are buying shit cannot afford it, right?
Yeah.
I just found out Walmart's number one source of revenue. Take a wild guess what it is.
Number one source?
Yep.
I don't know. I want to say maybe child products or kitty products?
It's EBT. It's food stamps. Like
wow.
Welfare.
Dang.
It's the number one source of Walmart's income.
That's wild.
Holy shit. Right?
Yeah.
So the thesis here is a whole bunch of people who can't afford to consume are fucking consuming, right?
Yeah.
So I'm not God. I'm not here to try to change the world. There's many greater men have come before me and will come after me, and they're having a hard enough time doing it. So I ain't even attempting. But what I do know is I'm just going to fall right in line with what consumerism is happening, because I've learned one thing about change, right? Have I impacted you at all positively in your life?
Absolutely.
Okay. Thank you for that, because I was hoping that was the case and it wasn't. This wasn't going to backfire on me. That's change. That's change. I never knew you before, but something I did in my pursuit of greatness, selfishly for me, I didn't think at all about you in this process. No offense. I've never once in my life has any other mindset come in but mine in my pursuit of happiness, right?
Of course.
And just by me following what I wanted to do, it's impacted you to go and do something better, put you in a positive trajectory, right?
Yeah.
That's how change happens. Everybody wants to stand on top of the fucking mountain and scream down about social injustice, how we should all change, when their checkbook's not even balanced.
See, that's the problem with the outside perspective. People are like, man, look at this guy. Look what he sells. Look what he's doing. That's just not society norm or societal accepted. Right. But they don't realize like there's a bigger impact that's being made. You're starting the Watchers group now. Yep. You're impacting lives. Yeah. Like I think like you've had I think I saw like a totally opposite of age groups killing it, right? Yep. From the young kid to like the grandma or something like that, right?
Oh, well, how could you not? When like I'm the person helping you and you like look at me and you're like every day you're sizing me up like this fucking nincompoop's doing this. All right, let's take this seriously. And they crush. And the honesty of it is, you want to know why I'm a success. Forever I thought I was no special cookie. It's only until I realized that maybe I am in versions, and that might sound slightly narcissistic, but I can back that up. And it's not because I have some awesome skills. It's because controlling your motherfucking emotions is something that the plurality of people cannot come to copes with.
Yeah.
Period. If you can control them, you will be successful. Period. That's it.
That's crazy. I just posted something yesterday on my Instagram about emotional resilience. And how yesterday I had a moment where I was killing it, had to work out with these guys, and then the events after that really just shitted on me. But then I told myself, you know what, I have a choice to be happy and move on with my day. And if I could manage my emotional resilience, which I learned by Bedros Koulian, is you have an advantage in your life, period. Like, period.
Well, the thing is, it's just people need to understand that you can actually control how you feel. So a couple tricks that I do is people get really excited and they think that's a good thing. It's actually one of the biggest precursors, I believe, for depression and anxiety and chaos.
Getting excited for first? Okay.
Because what is excitement? I mean, it's happy anxiety, right? It's
like shot of dopamine a little
correct.
bit.
Yeah. And what does it do is it's taking this, so like, say like you live in this plane like this, right? That's constantly growing, you're developing, maybe you have a little click up, but like it's constantly, you veer back far enough, it's growing like this, right? And then you add excitement into it, right? And now you're way on this high. And merely just coming back down to the normality that you're rocking feels like a down. It normally drops you even lower, right? Mm-hmm. So for me, one of the easiest ways I stay on my bat is I try to keep a base at all times. I try not to get overly excited about things because I know it'll be followed right away by a lull, and that emotional despair is something that's going to take me off of my day, right? Mm-hmm. So like, and going through a lot of these things, you know, like, have you ever been in a relationship that fell apart and you thought you'd never be the same again?
Absolutely. I think everyone has.
And then all of a sudden you were?
Yeah.
That's how I try to tell people. Now, the greatest people in the world just took that 6 months of grief and made it condensed to 6 minutes. Mm-hmm. And they trained their body to realize that there is light at the end of the tunnel, that this is an emotional exchange that you are in control of. But right now, it's much easier to just succumb to it than to fight it off.
Yeah.
And when people realize that, that's when I watch people like succeed. Because like, you know, this will cause me some flack, but I will say it anyways. Making money is like, it's insultingly easy, like in a billion different verticals, not just the one I'm in or this one. Like from talking to the people I have, I've learned billionaires are highly unimpressive, right? Like highly unimpressive to like the normal world. If you really like, they're just really good at controlling emotions and they're really good at understanding how consumers consume. That's it. And by doing that, you set yourself apart from the rest. People think you need to be some rocket science. What if I told you most people are just dog shit? You need to be cat piss. One level above. One level above is so, like, you could be dead broke or living paycheck to paycheck with debt, right? And a guy who's got $200 in saving and can manage his bank account is light years ahead of them.
Yeah, definitely.
And you think you're not. You think, well, I got $200 in bank. Bitch, you ain't in fucking debt. You have your life in check. You are crushing most people.
Yeah.
And I feel like people think that the elite are rocket scientists. Like, I'm here to tell you that maybe there's a few, but that's exception to the rule. The most people who are very successful are highly, I don't want to say unintelligent because that's not fair. A lot of them got very intelligent along their way, but they're highly driven and they don't overthink shit.
Yeah.
Highly intelligent people think their way out of everything. Thank you guys. You make it from idiots like me to make a lot of money. I truly appreciate the overthought. Keep it simple, stupid. You'll make a lot of money.
Dude, talk to me about your how your standards have evolved, because I feel like what a lot of people struggle with and what I have struggled with in the past is, you know, your standards, like as entrepreneurs, as trying to be innovators in whatever space that you're in. You know, we're warriors and we're always trying to, you know, outwork everybody. And we have this level of standard that increasingly just continues to adapt. And then it comes to a point now where it's almost like you self-sabotage yourself because you're never like satisfied. I feel like you've been able to manage that really well. I mean, how do you kind of steer away from that self-sabotage but still growing to a different level?
I'm real with myself. This, you know, I always say you always want me on this podcast to bring a lot of people with controversial topics we're going to talk about. So here is how I manage everything. I think inside of that realm is I'm real with what my day is bringing, right? So people always go, my family's number one. That's the first thing I'm doing is family, family, family. What happens if I told you that is like the worst way of thinking about taking care of your family? Like for me, my work comes first. Now, I'm not talking about trial and tribulous moments like my kid is in some issue or something going like that. I would obviously leave work, but I'm showing my children through action, no matter where you come from, no matter who you are, no matter what you do, you can pick any life you want. If you understand that your life in the beginning for a very good chunk of time is going to be you sacrificing everything for work, right? So then number two, The only time I give to anybody else are people who are helping my candle be amplified. They're throwing kerosene on my flame. I don't give a human being one fucking second. Like, you know how many times I want to like body someone and just come back with a witty response? I give no one no time at all, because that means that now I'm a bad dad. Now I'm a bad husband.
Yeah.
Now I'm a bad friend. Because in the very short periods of time that I have, I am making a choice now to choose to be a dickhead versus being with my family.
Yeah.
I think when people realize that, it gives you purpose. Like, my purpose for my life is to give my family a chance at life that they never had. Generational wealth that they can do something with and change. Because if my amazing wife keeps doing what she does, she builds such great foundations in my children, right? We have stability, normality. These things help. But if you don't have focus and drive, it's when you get caught up in The Bachelor, or you get caught in watching too much TV, or you go to the bar. You know, like,
so true.
I can't tell you the last time I don't even know what's hot in Los Angeles. I live in Los Angeles. Like, let's put it this way. I live in Los Angeles, right? I have all the tools you think that Los Angeles was crushed with. I have no idea what's hot. I don't know what restaurants, what bars. I don't know shit, because none of that does it for me. It used to, because I wanted to impress a whole bunch of people that meant nothing to me. And like, we all do, because we all are creatures of validation, right?
Yeah.
It feels good to be treated good. It's like when you get like let in a club in front of everyone else, that feels good, right? Like when someone like lets you cut in front of line, that feels good. When someone tells you look good, that feels good. Even if that person means nothing to you, people love validation, right? So it's focusing on being real with yourself. People are like, man, my purpose is to save all the people on the planet. I'm like, first off, what the fuck are you even saying? And number two, it's like, how about you get your shit together so you can do something? So people burn out because they're letting these cogs in their wheel distract them. You know, Thursday night's the bar, right? Feels a little fun, right? And then you maybe want a little bit more of that. So now you're distracted. Now your time is being utilized differently. I stay so hyper focused that I manage every moment of every second of my day. It's either work, work, work. And the moments it's not, it's taking my kids to school, you know, putting them to bed, and giving them, the time that I have. Speaking
of that, you're so in control with your life and your purpose, and you know what's important to you. So what's Chase's non-negotiables throughout, like, his
That's a good one. Well, so now they're different because of the late Kobe Bryant. You know, R.I.P.
Rest in peace.
Absolutely. You know, and you know, I want to say something about that, you know, because I'm a God-fearing man, and I believe that there's a purpose for everything. And I believe our Maker's purpose was that man was so powerfully impactful.
They needed him up there, right?
That the world needed to see him. Like, because I didn't know all the shit he did. I didn't know I knew him as the athlete Kobe Bryant, right? Yeah. But until he passed away, I didn't look into all the amazing stuff he did. In fact, I take my daughter to school every single day. From that moment, I used to take her here and there, but like now every single day because of him. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? So, the non-negotiables are for me that's tough. I think everything's negotiable except my family. You know, the non-negotiables for me are a peace of mind for my family. You know, like you can do anything in the world you want to me. You affect my family in one iota, you will see the horrible person that is deep down inside this body, right? You know, that we all fear so much about that. Like, besides that, I mean, I never put myself on such harsh critiques and such strict guidelines. Yeah. Because I think none of us know what the fuck we're doing.
Absolutely.
Not a damn person. Not the richest, not the poorest. We're all mixed bags of shit, leaving stink all over the place, right? Yeah. You know, like...
And everyone puts, like, this wrong narrative, like, as if they know what the fuck they're doing, or they got it under control.
Or purpose. Let's talk about... You know, you said purpose. You know, like... I think it's the biggest joke in the whole world.
Purpose.
When someone says, I'm doing this for my purpose. I think there's only a very few people in this world who truly understand what that is. And I think it takes a long road to truly understand what your purpose is. Because here's a simple thing. If you're sick, you have kids, right?
I do not have kids.
You don't have kids, sorry. So your purpose is different right now than when you have kids.
Oh, absolutely.
It will change.
I know for sure, yeah.
So how can someone say, I'm living for my purpose? Well, your purpose changed like the fucking seasons. Like, I think someone's purpose should be this. Make yourself free. Actually fucking free. And then you can make purpose. Do you think Elon Musk got into business because he's like, I'm going to save the planet? If you do, please line up for the purge. Because that's not what he set out for. He's an entrepreneur. He set out to make money, right?
Yep.
And now because he has won the game of life, Jeff Bezos donating for $10 billion to save the planet. Well, why? People are like, he's the nicest guy in the world. It would seem that way, right? It would seem that way. That's a really good clue. What happens if I told you that he is one of the just biggest alphas, and all these guys are, and they've already won the game of business life. They've already fucking won the game. They're like, I can lay the gloves up. I've kicked all your asses up and down the street. So what do? They tackle fucking problems that brilliant men before them could not do. They tackle far out things. They become like world leaders and, social change movement, when really their whole fucking purpose was to make money. Like people, let's use an example. Steve Jobs, who I love so much. I think he's a fucking pioneer and a revolutionist, right? The guy just changed everything. He did it on the back of migrant workers.
Yeah.
He's a revolutionist, right?
Yeah.
I mean, Apple dropped that show on Matt Lauer talking about social injustice of people while it was produced by a company that you see what I'm saying? Like, and it's all over. We as people just don't really know what to say or do. It's okay when we see the piece that resonates with us, and then we vilify them when we don't. What happens if like BP donates more money than Apple? Bet you no one would love BP more than they love Apple, right?
Yeah.
It's crazy how that is. At what point, I always say, at what point, like people will yell at a dude who's an educator, even if his intentions are completely in right line and people fail, they'll vilify him. But everybody in the world can know that these massive companies just destroy people in the pursuit of their happiness, and that's okay.
Yeah.
Where's the screaming online trolls for that, right? They aren't. I've always been curious in my life where the line is crossed, where it's like you're now amazing or you're a piece of shit.
Yeah.
It'd be curious to know.
Well, I think a lot of people don't realize too is they basically built businesses from the ground up, and that one business funded the other business, kind of like Elon Musk, right? He's multiple businesses and it funded the other one, Now he's actually tackling a real problem in the world. And
he donates money and people give him credit for and all that, but it's like he also spends a ton of it. Like he
burns it.
Yeah, people like, oh, they don't ball out. Listen, I'm sorry we don't get invited to like the Met Gala and stuff, but in all these crazy hobnobs society stuff, but they most certainly ball out. It might not be a Rolls Royce because to them a Rolls Royce is like a penny on the ground. It's probably like $100 million donation at the art gala, right? Yeah. It's like buying a whole town, right? Like that's like the epitome of balling out. It's just we can't see it, notice, feel it, or comprehend it. So we live in this world like they don't do this. It's in fact one of the most cliche things I ever see is like, have you ever seen the meme where it's like, it shows like Mark Zuckerberg and Steve Jobs, and they're like not a Gucci belt on them.
Yeah.
But yet Steve Jobs' shirt's made by Issey Miyake, so is fucking Mark Zuckerberg's. Like that's all designer. Yeah. Like everything's hand cut, personally to them. Those are like $400 turtlenecks. Yeah. But the world doesn't want to give them that
just because it doesn't have like the LV.
Correct. They're like, oh, yes, fucking yes. Steve Jobs walks into the Gap and gets his clothes. You got me, you guys. You are right. That's what he does. Like,
yeah. It was crazy too. I remember seeing like at the Grammys, someone posted a meme about how these people like they get on stage and they start talking about oppression and all this stuff. But then they're the ones who getting all like dazzled up with like $1 million dress or something like that. And it's just crazy. Like, again, that false narrative is just insane, man.
Well, it's because in life, we have these challenge metrics, whether we like to believe it or not. And, a football player making $50 million a year might challenge you a little bit. Maybe it doesn't. But someone who you look as could potentially be your peer doing something you're not is the biggest challenge metric known to man, and it's very hard for people to look in that mirror and see the actual person for who they are and not a shitty reflection of themselves. And that's just really that.
Yeah. What's because your mindset is just crazy in the way you look at things, and that's one of the reasons. Which, by the way, I was like, man, when I heard you speak for the first time, I was like, Chase don't know this yet, but he's gonna be on my podcast.
Let's go.
But so what's inspiration to you now? Because I kind of get this feeling like you don't even believe in inspiration no more.
Yeah, believe it or not, I like that you say that. I do have inspiration. My inspiration is, it's weird though. I am on this mission. So people ask me why I got into education, and it's because I'll never be famous for being an e-com guy, like running a business. Like I'm never gonna. It's not gonna be as big as Elon Musk because I'm not willing to give what he gave. Right? He gave his family. He gave everything. He lost everything for that, for his pursuit of happiness. I'm not willing. I'm not willing to give that.
To go in that depth. Yeah.
Yeah. Ask that again. Sorry, my brain is like.
No. What is inspiration to you now? With just everything that you've
I
accomplished?
want my daughter to. She goes to a school with like very famous people, right?
I saw that.
Yep.
TMZ just reposted that too. Like, hey, that's my clip.
Yep. And they talk about. They talk about their family, and my daughter, in her head, thinks I'm the biggest celebrity in the entire world. She's like, she says this thing that my daddy helps people that no one else will help, and it can make me cry. So I hope I don't turn into a giant bitch right now, but. I want to live up to that. Like, I want, when she's 15, she doesn't sound like a fucking idiot. And they're like, no, your dad helps 85 people. You don't even know what you're talking about. Like, I actually want to fulfill that dream at that time. So, you know, she's given me purpose to go out there and put my name out there, to do all these things and, you know, get myself going. But, you know, inspiration is kind of a weird thing. I get inspiration from a fucking dude driving down the street. I get inspiration from, you know, when I walk in and see all these fit fucking people that I need to go to the gym. You know, inspiration comes when we least expect it. You know, God is a very fun maker, right? He never built a house, right? None of this shit, right? He just gave us a brain and put a tree out there, and they're like, and he's like, figure it the fuck out.
Yeah.
And I love that. I feel like that's where I get my inspiration. I get my inspiration from like the most broken, fucked up shit. But it allows me to become a different person. And like right now, the market in the world I'm trying to infiltrate is large acquisitions. I want to sell my company for a shit ton of money, and I want to do it on my terms where I control the deal from start to finish. So we've had offers, but again, I want to be unreasonable in my tactics and have it work. So I'm driven for that. And, you know, I'm taking on big challenges because I've gone through massive depression states where it's like, you know, I'll make more money than I've ever been making and I can't find happiness in it, right?
Yeah.
And I think the risk is where I miss. You know, like in the beginning, I had to risk everything. Now I don't have to risk everything, even for the next level. I get to risk a piece of something, you know? Yeah. So I like the putting it all on the fucking table and seeing if I still got it. It's like the championship fight.
If you don't mind me asking, where does kind of the depression come from? Because obviously people outside are like, how can he be fucking depressed with all this money? He has it all. Because
shit doesn't fill the void like you think it will. I mean, it does for like 4 or 6 months. And here's why. I think I figured it out. I think I can give some actual take home from this. I think why it doesn't fill the void is because it becomes normal after a period of time. So like to like a guy who doesn't have a Rolls Royce, a Rolls Royce is insane. But to like me, I've had one for 7 years. It's just a car.
Yeah.
So like the way it made me feel at one time, like that excitement, I no longer feel. So it took me up on this high.
Yeah.
You know, it brought me back down to normal, and now normal didn't feel the same. Like I was like, fuck, you know, like so it's like. And purpose, like my purpose would always change, so I couldn't fulfill it, you know. And I realized it was me, that I find happiness in the risk. I find happiness in the pursuit of all of this. And so I just realized I wasn't thinking big enough. And so now, you know, I partnered up with Logan Paul. We did this. We putting together some really dope stuff. But behind the scenes, I want to build out a broadcast network. I want to build out.
Hell yeah.
You know, new generational television for our arena, you know, R-rated news. I'm not talking about fucking on TV, but I'm talking about saying the word fuck and not having the SEC or whoever the fuck polices TV come in on you and go crazy. You know what I'm saying? Like, I want a world where we can get information to kids when they're most malleable, just to do something. And like, and it's not like I even give a fuck about anybody doing anything. I care about myself deep down inside. I want my kids to live in a world where people aren't robbing people because of the shit that they have, because they don't, right? Like, I just want change to happen selfishly. And I think that me being honest with that at least is causing change to happen, because I'm doing it for me, but it's the byproduct affects other people in a positive manner.
Yeah, dude, that's why I love podcasting so much. I mean, as of right now, hopefully, it is still unregulated.
Yep.
You know what I mean? And that would have been crazy if when you arrived there and be like, hey, Chase, by the way, you can't cuss on the podcast.
They once said that to me. A dear friend of mine, Joel Marion, I'm one of the speakers at the 100 Million Mastermind, which is like which is bonkers. I swear every single time when they send me the shit that they they wrote they wrote member wrong and they wrote educator. Like they fucked up. Like because I'm sitting here presenting in front of like one of the guys was a multi-billionaire, another guy had $2 billion exits, and there's like a room full of 100 people like this. I'm all like, I think I'm highly in the wrong room. You know what I'm saying? It's just crazy. You know, the world is a funny place. But
yeah, let's. Before we go, let's just talk about Watchers real quick. Where you know, obviously it's a private group.
Yep.
I see you're really trying to take it to the next level as far as like the education system.
Yep.
Where you're trying to take that, because I really feel you're doing some good things with that. Which
Yep.
I will leave a link on my description. By the way, is it like an annual sign up or what is it?
Yeah. So we have a bunch of stuff, and we're always creating new stuff. I set out to create the Watchers group because I wanted more recurring revenue clients in what I do on my day-to-day business. So I build subscription models, right? And I didn't want to wear a suit and fly private jets around and hobnob a bunch of people that I didn't really vibe with.
Yeah.
I figured if I taught someone that by the end of the year, the trust, loyalty, and family camaraderie would be there, that they would work with me exclusively, right?
Yeah.
So we set out on there. But what I've learned out along going the way is e-commerce isn't a hard arena. People coming to copes with what they're getting into is the hard part, right? They think it's like not a real job, or they think that it's not that difficult. So we've dropped some stuff out there, I believe, that really brings clarity in this confusing world, because people think that this is really confusing and it's not, and the world is trying to make it that way. I'll leave you guys with take homes right now that come straight out of my $50,000 course. You don't have to. You can just take these and do something with it. First off, Facebook ads are super easy, right? Broad. Do a couple interests inside your campaign. Maybe one campaign now that they're going to CBO. Do one campaign, one interest, make it broad, right? If your target's not like women or like people 18 to 65 or massively broad or like a dog bed, right? Mm-hmm. You can't scale to Facebook. Mm-hmm. Number two is let Facebook do the fucking work, right? It's like when you go to the racetrack and you see a guy shifting his Lamborghini, I want to just punch him in the throat, right? I'm like, the car shifts it way faster than you, guy. Yeah. You just look stupid, right?
Yeah.
Second thing is sell products people want to buy. Like I hear this all the time. I got the greatest idea in the world. And I want like a rubber mallet to hit people in the head every time I hear that.
Or a bamboo stick.
No one fucking cares what you think or feel. They care about themselves. Mm-hmm. In exclusivity. And they will tell you what they want with their wallets. They vote with their wallets. Right? It doesn't matter. Copy, right? Copy. Because you're right. You're going to fall on this curve somewhere, and sometimes you're going to be late. Sometimes you're going to be way over here. But you're falling on that target. And throwing enough darts, you're going to hit a few of those on that curve to ride yourself up and do great things. So I actually got into education because I got in a fight with a kid online, and I didn't understand how big social clout was. Mm-hmm. And he was saying how to run Facebook. And I was like, this is a complete lie. You are so full of shit, right? Mm-hmm. But he had like 2 million followers. So I got destroyed by like 3,000 kids, like just obliterated, right?
Interesting.
So they caught me in a dark moment. So what did I do? I took the PDF of my tax returns and I just put them on the internet. I responded in the comments with my tax return. I highlighted how much money I'd spent that previous fiscal year on Facebook. It's one of the line items. It's right fucking there in my taxes, right? Like there it is. And by default, I'd never seen such a massive turn of the wheel in my whole life. Mm-hmm. It went from most hated person in the world to overnight 10,000 messages in my Facebook inbox. Hundreds of people trying to like come to my house, find out where I live, to get me to show them how to run Facebook ads.
Yeah, so that's when you read the market, like, okay, there's definitely a need here.
I never thought I'd get in the education space. In fact, every single day I think about getting out of it, because I go in there to teach e-commerce, and now I have Vinny Shorman now hired full time for my team, who's like a mind coach. I'm realizing I'm more of a dad than anything. Like, the guy comes up to me and he's like, "Hey, bro, I got marriage advice. I got a marriage question." I'm like, "Okay, let's hear it." He goes, "My wife wants to divorce me." I'm like, "I'm not built for this shit." And I'm like, "But tell me what's going on." He goes, "I got caught cheating with hookers." I'm like, "I'll give you the best marital advice ever. If you fancy hookers that so much, divorce your wife, right? Or stop fucking hookers." Like, what do you want me to say here, right? Like, sorry if it's a little vulgar, but the whole thing is like, I feel in the education world, it is 98%. I need to just get people to understand, first, they're capable, and B, that they're worthy of it. I have students in my class who've done everything themselves, get themselves in a very short period to like 5, 10K a day with like 30% net, calling me panicking. Like they're going to fuck this all up. Like needing me to tell them that they've got it.
Yeah.
And I'm like,
Giving
what do you
them
mean?
permission, right?
You got it. You already, what do you mean you got it? It's proof right there. But in their head, because they're in this small town world, they can't think of themselves making that kind of money. And I'll tell you, when you really start getting into business, money will surprise you. Like how much you can actually make of it. Like it becomes really surprising. Solve bigger tasks, solve bigger needs. You know, like I solve an emotional pattern that everybody goes through. I emotionally shop. My wife emotionally shops. Like I do this for a living and I emotionally shop. And I should be so good at this by now.
Yeah.
But I am that way. And listen, at the end of the day, there's a need for it, right? The people could just go right to AliExpress. They go right to Amazon to get the product. But there's a need for people like me telling people a story so they'd hear it. It's like this. I'll use an example. Everybody should have fire blankets in their home. Like, duh. Everybody should. Like that. I feel like that's kind of a fucking no-brainer, right?
Yeah.
Most people do not. I bet you they aren't in here. I bet you in most homes they're not. And that's fair. I can run a piece of marketing where I can find a real story about a real lady who lost her children in a fire, right? And I can grab your emotions, and then I can now segue to this lady. Children most likely would have been saved if she had a fire blanket. So now I've just changed a sale on a product to make you emotional. Like, I need this.
Yeah.
And people are like, well, that's fucked up. How so? Right? Like, people need a lot of shit they're unwilling to do for themselves. Since the beginning of time, we've been trying to help people like get out of their own way. So I live in a marketing world that's how I sell my products. I have no problem getting someone in an emotional state to purchase it because I know they need it.
Yeah.
For whatever reason it may be, right?
Yeah.
Like your dog needs a good dog bed. I know it sounds so cliche, but it does. They live like 12 years average. To make your dog, if you have a dog and your dog has a shitty fucking bed, you shouldn't have had a dog to begin with. Like, what the fuck is wrong with you?
Yeah.
Like, you fucking terrible person. Like, if you're going to have something, be capable of having it. Someone's like, oh, I've got $800. I'm going to buy a $300 dog. I'm like, you, my friend, again, when's the purge, right? You know, like, I keep coming back to that because that's what the scariest thing about it is. I'm not mad. Listen, I'm not even mad at these young fucking kids who go around and do terrible business, fuck around. Like, that's immaturity and stupidity.
Yeah.
What I'm mad about is people who rob other people's freedom from them by being pieces of shit right next to them and stop them from ever excelling, right?
Yeah.
They just steal the life from them. And I think that's the biggest flaw in humanity right now. And we all enjoy it because normally the person who robs everything from you is the coolest person to hang out with.
Yeah.
They're fun. It's fun.
Yeah. Well, dude, Chase, I appreciate you coming on the podcast, man.
Dude.
Which, by the way, you know, I got to tell you something. If there's one consistent compliment I've had in my life, it's the fact that my last name's Cruz. So everyone used to tell me, damn, EJ Cruz, that's the coolest name. But I don't think that ever matches up to Chase Hero. That's like your real fucking name, right?
I appreciate it. Yeah, my parents gave it to me as a young little lad. And yeah, I mean, it's been a fun ride. 2 hours with an accent, you know, I take one away to keep it, you know, keep a little privacy in life. But besides that, yeah, it's just been always who I am. My sister's name is Summer Hero.
Oh, that's crazy.
Right? I think my parents did a lot of drugs. They're just unwilling to admit it. No, they admitted it. They did. They admitted all of it.
Dude, because I'm like, dude, if you ever started an organization, whether it's like, I don't know, Chase Hero Foundation, Chase Hero Academy, right? I just think it'd be a fucking cool name. Like, you know, I feel
like I got a name built to be an athlete, but a body built to be like a synchronized swimmer. You know what I'm saying? Like, It's like the man upstairs had a funny day with me. He's like, listen, I'm going to give you the coolest last name. So it should be all over a jersey. But then the only jersey you're going to be wearing is like the water girl or boy at the fucking stadium, you know? Like, they give them numbers too, right? Do I get one of those? But no, It's been a blast, man. I love this. I don't go dig into too many podcasts of other people. Like, I don't really watch much content out there because I want to be true to me. Yeah. And I feel like a lot of people can get me off my path. But I've dug into your guys' stuff a bit, and it's an honor to be here. You know, I'm sure you know my insane schedule. It's fucking bonkers. Yeah. And I can tell you right now, this is the first podcast that someone gets me to go somewhere else than my own place. And I was happy to do it.
Dude,
I loved it. Yeah, it was awesome. It was a good drive down here. You know, it reminded me, I haven't had to go through traffic in like a long time, and it taught me something. So we'll have a long conversation about that. But you impacted my life in a way that like I said, it's always the weird things, right?
Yeah.
So driving in here and having to sit through traffic, it's been the first time I've had to do something that I wasn't in control of. Like I live on the other side of traffic. From my house to my office, I never see traffic anymore, right? I'm on that side. So I don't see it. I'm like, and it reminded me that no matter what level in life you are, right? That variable of California, we're all the same fucking people, right? Yeah. That thing never changes. Rich, poor, motorcycles crush, but the shitty car, nice car, we sit in that stuff. And it taught me something. And it reminded me like about punctuality. If you notice, I was early, right?
Yeah.
Like
I appreciate that too.
But like I care about that shit. But like it showed me, it's like it gave me purpose. Like it's been a while since I had to map my schedule out and shit, and it was fun. So I had a blast doing this, and it was fun to learn something that you didn't expect to learn, and just on the way down here.
Dude, I appreciate it, man. I always feel like it's good to be enlightened every now and then. I mean, I think, like you say, chaotic schedule, and we're just so fine-tuned in this tunnel vision sometimes, and man, it's good, dude. Chase Hero, what's the best way to get in contact with you if anyone?
Instagram at Chase Hero, ChaseHero. That's the easiest one to follow me, or YouTube, The Watchers /THE.
Loving the new content.
Yeah, WATCHERS. Yeah, chatting with Chase. Again, it's like that Kobe Bryant thing. Like, a man's mission goes untold if no one ever hears it, right? And I think every human being has the ability to impact someone, and it just by getting out there. I'm impacted by this room right now. By having these many people in here who all are as well mannered, and like not one of you have walked out, not one of you have been like off dial. You guys are all engaged. Like I'm gonna go back and audit my team because of this, and it just says a lot about you, straight up. That says massive shit about. I no longer look at people. They're so good at faking shit. Holy God, you know what I'm saying? I look at the people around them. How do they act around them? Because if someone's in fear, if someone's not liking the vibe, it's so easy to tell on other people how you are.
Yeah.
And so like I worry about my team. I'm like, God, I hope I give a good aura on there, because you have to be stern and forceful and intense, and it's a business, but you also have to like give the vision and build a family and build camaraderie. And because like who the fuck else wants to live your purpose if it ain't in line with theirs, right?
Yeah. And
you've done something beautiful. So you guys, the viewers, I hope I helped with anything, but he's going to do a lot of great stuff. If you ain't watching this episode because you hate me, that's okay too. Watch more of them, because this guy is going to put out some amazing stuff. I can tell by the vibrations, how you carry yourself. You're doing great stuff here. So it was an honor. I am humbled, and I hope I can come back and still be relevant, where I can come back in the future and be relevant.
You could come back anytime. We can get off topic, man.
And I'll have you in mind, too. We're going to roll one out here soon. It's going to be a completely funny, hilarious name, and we're going to cause some ruckus with it.
I'm consistent. I'm going to hold you to that.
Done. Lock it down. He will be on it. We're going to be launching the next week or two. So we got you on it.
Do the Parables podcast, guys. I appreciate you tuning in. Do me a favor. If you guys are listening to this episode, tag me and Chase, take a screenshot, let us know that you're watching, and also do me a favor, you guys could. Please, if you could leave a review on iTunes or Apple Podcasts, it does help with visibility. My man Chase here is going to help sign the infamous canvas, which, by the way, hopefully I could steal you one time and you could see the old setup.
Yeah, absolutely.
You know what I mean? Like the real setup. This was just kind of like, we planned this, Matt, like how long ago? Like just a couple days. This is so wild turnout how this turned out. Like real. This is like out of my comfort zone, but hey man, that's how we grow, baby.
Yeah.
I appreciate you, brother.
This is awesome. Thank you so much. Appreciate it.
Parables podcast. We're out of here.